For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink.
I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me.
I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink?
And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick and in prison and visit you?
And the king will answer them, Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers, you did it to me.
Then he will say to those on his left, Depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food.
I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you do not welcome me, naked, and you do not clothe me.
Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they will also answer, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked
or in prison, and did not minister to you? And then he will answer them, saying, Truly I say to you,
as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me.
So yeah, Matthew chapter 25, you just heard it, and in it talks about when Christ was hungry, we got the opportunity to feed him, and then it says when he was sick, we got the opportunity to take care of him. And it's the whole concept of taking care of the least of these, and in doing so, in a lot of ways, we get to minister to Christ himself. And then he later goes on to talk about the penalty for those that don't. And in that, last week we talked about, the concept of hunger, and we asked the question to each other, what are you hungry for in life? And maybe we answered that question in some ways as to what we should be hungry for in life. And this week we're going to look at that concept of sickness. And when I think sickness, like some of you, the first thing that comes to mind is a physical sickness or an illness. But what we want to talk about this week is that same concept of sickness, but in another aspect of our lives, which is our relationships with friends, family, maybe even significant others. But I think if we're honest with ourselves, we know that there's sickness, there's illness in a lot of our relationships. And what I want to offer up this week is perhaps a prescription to that sickness and to that illness. And there was a time when I was younger, when me and my little brother, I have a little brother who's about 2.5 years younger than me, we grew up playing sports. A very competitive family, played a bunch of sports when I was little, and all throughout high school and college. And basketball was one of them. That's why we're out here at a basketball court. I'm holding a basketball. And me and my little brother were outside playing. I was in 7th grade. He was in 5th grade, so he was like 11 years old. And at that time, I was a little bit bigger than him. I know it's hard to believe. But we were sitting outside, and we were playing ball, and we were playing one-on-one. And we were in the driveway, and I kept driving around my little brother. I'd give him a pump fake, and I'd come around, and I'd lay the ball up. And I'd make it, like every time, with your little brother, But the problem was, for about 3 times in a row, I'd pump fake, and I'd come around my little brother, and right when I go to lay the ball up, he'd foul me because he was smaller than me, and he couldn't keep in front of me. In basketball, you got to stay in front of your opponent. And he couldn't do that because he wasn't as fast as me at that time. And so I kept pump faking, I'd come around, and when I go to lay the ball up, he'd foul me. He'd hit me in the face, elbow me in the shoulder. I mean, it was just really starting to frustrate me. I was getting mad. I was telling him, I was like, Sean, stop fouling me. Just play defense. Just play defense. And he couldn't keep up with me. And so as opposed to staying calm, I just got madder and madder and madder, more frustrated. And so finally, after about the 3rd or 4th time, I come and I go to lay the ball up. And sure enough, when I did, he hit me in the face. He was going for the ball, and he missed the ball, and he hit me. And I lost my temper. I lost my cool. And I came down, got the ball in the net. I took it, and I pegged Sean right in the stomach. I mean, I just reared back and threw that ball right at him. And some of you are probably going, wow, you're really mean. And it was a really mean act. But Sean, I mean, it nailed him right in the stomach. And granted, he was a little kid then, and he started to cry because I pegged him really hard. And I think he was also hurt because his little brother just got really mad, or his older brother just got really mad at him. And Sean started crying. He ran inside. And I remember sitting outside and the way I felt after I did that. And the thing that was missing in that whole exchange was grace. This concept of grace. If I would have had grace with Sean from the beginning, kind of gaining perspective of that he was younger than me, he was a little less experienced than me in basketball, then I think I would have been able to stay calm if I would have had that perspective of what does it mean to have grace. But instead, I let frustration get to me, I let anger get to me, and it came out in this just awful exchange between me and my younger brother. And right now, I know it's kind of a funny story. I pegged him, me and him laugh about it now, but I think we can all be honest with ourselves and say there's conversations and exchanges in our own family, in our own lives with our friends and family that we struggle to have grace in. We struggle to bite our tongues in. And there's also just some funny situations throughout our days where we just don't let grace come into play. And so right now, I want you to think about a time, maybe yesterday, maybe in this past week, maybe in this past year, where somebody just did you wrong. They just kept fouling you, maybe with their mouths, maybe with their actions. I mean, straight up, maybe somebody rear-ended you in traffic and it was totally their fault and you just came out and just went off on them. So think of a time where someone wrongs you and as a result, you flipped out on them. And you got it? You got that moment? Okay, now I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them about it. Go.